SimWorld presents Around the Table with E and the Fat Man.
What's up, everybody? It's me, it's the B.O.B., and I'm here with my man, E. How are you doing today?
I am loving this bright, sunny, Midwestern warm day we are having this weekend, Bob. Spring is here. Almost feels like summer.
Yeah, you know, where I am, I don't think I've seen the sun in like 6 days, to be completely honest. And right
Well,
now,
hopefully it's coming. Hopefully what I got's coming your way.
I hope not.
Well, that's true. I know you. That's right.
You do know me. If it's not snowing, I'm not happy. Well, this is Around the Table with Ian the Fat Man. That is E. I'm the Fat Man, and this is where we talk about whatever we want sports related. Today, we're going to talk a little bit about our veterans. Me and E had talked a little bit before, and he brought up how LeBron James, the old man of the NBA, he's out there leading the Lakers right now, up 2-1 against Golden State. And yeah. I think it would be nice, or he thought it would be nice, for us to highlight some of our veteran players that returned from the Ground Zero season. And
our guys may not quite have the gray hair and the battle scars and 20,000 points scored in the league and all the rest of that LeBron has. But, you know, we do have guys that this is their second season in SimWorld. And for us, they feel like the ascended masters at this point. They got that wisdom. They've been around for a while. So, you know, not necessarily going to talk about the guys who are at the top of the table, at least not every pick for all of us, but highlight a few of these guys who are returning, who have made a real impact, much like LeBron is making in the playoffs.
Yeah, you neglected to mention that he also has probably the worst hairline in the NBA, and I don't think anybody in SimWorld Hoops has a hairline quite as far back as
that's
that
true.
one.
No. There's some good hair out there. Jetson Holiday, Corey Yams, but yeah,
that's
fair
like
point.
It's like a whole 4-point line itself. How far back that is. But anyway, so I will let you, since you brought up the topic, I'm going to let you have the honors of taking the first pick.
Oh, I get to go first. All right. Well, let me throw out one of my, I love it. Let me throw out one of my favorite players, returning, coming back. And, you know, Bob, he's somebody who caught my eye last year, even though he was in a very reserve role last season. But, boy, he played some nice minutes. This year, he's back. He's a little bit taller, and he is balling out. And I am talking about Terrell Pearson, Southeast Select. Reserve guard, 6'3", 190-pounder out of Starkville, Mississippi, and still actually often coming off the bench, in spite of the fact we're talking about somebody who has now risen to be the 56th overall ranked player in SimWorld Hoops, but averaging second on the team behind the all-world Trey Turner, of course, in points, 12.8 points per game Pearson's putting up, along with an impressive 3 rebounds and just shy of 3 assists a game, 2.9, shooting just about 50% of the field from the field. You know, the guy's got a good 3-point shot. Again, is second on the team in made threes, only behind, once again, that man, Trey Turner. A lot of people are going to be second place behind Trey Turner, I think. But, you know, Pearson's just a really good athlete. He's a good distributor. You know, he's a big point guard in effect at 6'3". And I also like the fact that, you know, he's really a team leader. You know, he's got the kind of personality, got the kind of, you know, leadership focus that I think is great for a team that already has an established star like Trey Turner in Southeast. Terrell Pearson, yeah, one of my favorite sort of unsung juniors last year. Having the kind of season I actually thought he would this year, and Southeast is obviously pretty good, but, you know, Pearson just flies a little under the radar. You don't hear a whole lot of people talking about him, but he is definitely the number 2 guy on this loaded Southeast team, and he's getting it done.
Yeah, for sure, and I think it's a good pick, and like you said, he doesn't really get a whole lot of talk, mainly because obviously they have Trey Turner, the number 4 player in the country. Yeah. But then you also look at the size on this team, and they tried very hard before the season started to put together a monster team. They have 3 6'10" guys. You got Baldridge, you got Stack, you got Warnick. When you think about them, you think about Trey Turner and the triple towers. The triple towers they have out there.
I like that.
So
that's good.
But I do think, I know he's not a returning player, but Gabe Pope also gets a little bit of the attention on him as well, and for good reason. He's going to be a very good player for years to come. Hopefully at the college level, if he doesn't make the jump to the NBA, I think he'll probably spend a year or two at the college level. But yeah, no, Terrell Pearson, I think that's a solid pick. And yeah, he's clearly, outside of how people don't talk about him, he's clearly the number 2 player on that team. And,
oh yeah, for sure.
well,
just statistically alone, that becomes clear in spite of all of those big guys you're talking about, Bob.
Absolutely. Well, I'm gonna go ahead, and I know we're gonna kind of highlight the lesser names a little bit. So I don't want people to think we're disrespecting players like Trey Turner when we mention teammates.
Yeah, Trey Turner's great, by the way. Yeah.
Absolutely. I am going to go with somebody who's a little bit higher up on the rankings. I still think this kid is the best pure point guard. He's not having the year that I expected, but Norvell Dejan Jones of Queen City Kings, I think he is the best pure point guard in the country. Last season, he could do it all. He's a scorer, rebounds, assists. He set the assist record in the Ground Zero season. I believe he had 12 in a game. Queen City, they're not doing as well as I had anticipated with last season's potential coach of the year. It got stolen from him, Coach Darius Simmons.
Coach Darius. Yep. Give her to Bob's, everybody. Darius Simmons. Anyway.
But yeah, no, I think he's the best pure point guard. I don't think he's been put in the best position this season as he was last season. But they also have some other solid talent that came in through the offseason, which has taken a bit away from him, with Sky Durant, who had that one game in the offseason where he just shot lights out from 3. He's arguably their second best player, and then they have Madison Miles at center as well. I mean, they're just 2 players that they're kind of taking a little bit away from Dejan Jones, but I expect him to be more of a facilitator moving forward, or at least I would hope to see him as more of a facilitator moving forward, because that's really where he shines, is getting the rest of his teammates involved and making them better.
Yeah, I like your pick here too. Norvell Dejan Jones and DJ leading that Queen City squad in scoring and in assists. And, Queens started off the season kind of poorly.
Yeah.
And somehow I think that just kind of like the stink of that poor start just stuck with them. Hard to get that off. They have actually brought things back to 6 and 7. So they're almost 500. They're turning it around. And I think hopefully as they become kind of more relevant and improve that record more, I think you might start to hear about NDJ a little bit more frequently. Keep in mind, struggling with his shot this year, shooting just a little bit over 40% from the field. And like you say, he shouldn't, you shouldn't think scoring first when you think of Dejan Jones. You should think about him as that facilitator, as the quarterback of the offense out there. But, I expect that shooting percentage, that said, will rise.
Absolutely.
and his numbers and Queen City's win-loss record will probably also move up the ranks accordingly. So, mutual admiration society so far, Bob. You liked my first pick. I liked yours. Let's keep it going. Why don't you throw a second out there? I'll let you hit 2 in a row.
Yeah, this one's a little difficult for me. There are some higher names up that I really, really want to mention, but they're players that everybody knows. Dominic Bianco, everybody knows who he is. Tyson Simpson, everybody knows who he is, although I still don't think we've scratched the surface with him yet. But I think I'm going to go with another player on another team that's down a little bit. He is still a little bit higher ranked. I know, shoot me, whatever. But Brian Webb, I just think this is a kid who he could have. I think he has top 10 talent. He's currently ranked 32nd in the composite rankings of SimWorld Hoops, and he's averaging 15.2 a game. I expected a lot more from him, in a sense that I expected his team to win a lot more because of him. He was a guy that really could take over games last season, and that's just not really happening right now. They brought in, I think that bringing in Honcho Hardwick III, he's new to the league, and he's averaging a double-double already, 10 points, 10 rebounds.
Mhm.
Carter Fields has been playing solid for them as well with his 10.3 points, but I really expected Brian Webb to just really elevate this team. And as of right now, he's not starting. He is coming off the bench, I believe, for this team as a little bit of a mix-up to try and get some wins out there. They're 4-10. There's still some time left in the rest of the season to turn that around a little bit. But if they want to turn this around, I think they need to really force feed the ball to Webb a little bit. I mean, Carter Fields is great. I think Renzo Bryant's a good facilitator. And I think they need to give him the chance to facilitate with Webb out there next to him. And because I would probably, honestly, I would have Young coming off the bench, have Webb out there with Bryant, Webb at shooting guard, and I think they would probably do a lot better. Now that we're a few games into the season, 14 games in for them. But yeah, I thought he was one of the best returning players, and I really just expected more. But 15.2 points is nothing to sneeze
No,
at. So
it's not. It's not. The problem with Brian is, and this is nothing new for him. This is
yeah,
just a little bit of his game. Is he's not particularly efficient. If he ever gets up to 50% shooting, that's going to be a remarkable stretch for Brian. About 42% right now, which again, obviously a low number, but that's kind of what he does. One of my favorite players to watch play. I just like the fact that 6'3", a little under 200 pounds, and he just likes to get inside. He creates a lot. He gets assists inside, but he does a lot of scoring inside and everything like that too. Real kind of interesting matchup problem that he creates out
oh
there,
yeah,
Brian Webb, and for that reason. Yeah, I talked about Terrell Pearson when I started this off, Bob, but Brian Webb was another one of those guys too who really just stood out to me as a junior, even though I wasn't going to say he was in the young player of the year running necessarily. Still just stood out in my mind. Definitely a favorite, and I like your call there. Well, I suppose I should take the ball back in my court. You've got two out. I should mention a second as well. And for my second returning veteran that I want to highlight, I want to talk about Patricio Ramirez. Now, if you're not familiar with Patricio, that's because he plays for South America, and a lot of times on the global squads, not quite as much press attention, not sort of on the tip of your tongue. And the other thing that happened in South America is after starting off the season red hot and going 5-0, they have now lost 9 straight games.
oh yeah.
They won 5, and currently they've lost 9 in a row, which is just kind of brutal and heartbreaking because there is some talent on this team. And that talent includes absolutely Patricio, 6'9", 210-pounder out of Argentina, leading this squad in both points per game and rebounding. He's averaging just under 12 points and just under 9 rebounds per contest. He's actually third in all of SimWorld with double-doubles. He's not quite Tyson Simpson level yet, but he does have 4 double-doubles on the year. And that rebounding number, it's 8.9. I said just below 9. That's right, number 5 too in terms of the SimWorld rankings. Patricio definitely has the potential, I think, to play at the next level. I think the big question is if he will go to college or if he will just simply, start to play in the professional ranks. I'm not saying straight to the NBA for him, but certainly can and should be getting a decent wage to play the game of basketball. A good athlete and a great defender, is also known as a good teammate. And 59th overall ranked player in SimWorld. Last year, he kind of played a power forward role for the South America squad. This year, he's their main man in the paint. And their really only presence in the paint as their next biggest player is 6'6". But, maybe it's not a great situation for Patricio to shine in. But if you ever get a chance to watch some South America games, pay attention to the big man in the middle because big number 3 out there, he's like the B version of Henrik Vekic. He really is. And Vekic, everybody understands how good he is. Ramirez doesn't get talked about as much, but he should. He's one of the better players in the SimWorld game.
Yeah, he was one of my favorite returning international players. I think he finished in the top 5 last season when we had the rankings split up to international players having their own separate rankings because obviously we didn't think they deserved to be in the regular rankings.
Right.
But no, like I said, I mean, they started off 5-0. They had a couple big wins. I mean, they beat the Yacht Club early on. They beat the H-Town Hoopers early on, and then I don't know what happened. I really thought that we were going to see an international team really, really take a hold of the league, and them nine losses in a row are not looking great for them right now. I don't think they would look great for anybody. But yeah, no, I mean, he's a great player. Like I said, I think he is a top, whatever his ranking is now. I think he's 59th right now in the composite. I think he is. I think he has top 20 talent. I just think that, like you said, one, the international teams don't get a lot of press. It's hard for us to fly around all around the country or all around the world in the short times that we need. But they do need, and they need somebody else out there with him. I think that's one of the big struggles for them. I mean, they have a couple returning players, but outside of Ramirez, really nobody else is standing out for this team. And I don't think he can do it alone. I think he's a top 20 player, but I don't think that he is one of those players that is going to be able to just completely take over the game. And that's because he's not the biggest center. He's going to go up against 7-footers. Some of these big guys in the league, some of the abnormally large kids that we have here.
Big boys.
Yeah, he's going to struggle a little bit with that, but I still think he's a top 20 player. I think it's a very good pick. I would be hard pressed not to put him. If I did a 2 deep lineup or a 3 deep lineup, I'd be hard pressed not to have him in that somewhere.
Good analysis of the problem. I got to say I had high hopes for Mike House, American import on this South America team. That I thought, he could kind of be the running mate with Patricio out there. Had his moments, averaging just about 8 points a game, but has really struggled with his shooting. And that's why you're 5-9 on a 9-game losing streak right there.
Absolutely.
Well, I will take third and close things out before I bat it back your way, Bob. So my third and final selection, and this is probably the one who is most on the radar of the 3 I picked, because I don't think Pearson gets enough love, and I don't think Ramirez gets enough love. Who might actually get around the appropriate amount of love is my final mention for the veterans that I want to call out, and that is Jason Tada of Cascadia. 24th ranked overall in the composites. 6'7", can play guard, and Tada last year. Well, we're talking about somebody who's a veteran, who's a SimWorld veteran here, come back for a second season, but he's not with the same team in his second season. That's one difference between him and my other two. He was a Los Angeles Star last year, and the Stars, now known as Showtime, Stars and Tada had a little parting of the ways, which. Not a lot was said about it. It wasn't like there was a big nasty divorce in the press or something, but, fairly obviously, Jason was concerned that he wasn't going to shine enough on that Showtime team and had a great offer from Coach Isaiah Pope in Cascadia to take the trek up the Pacific Coast North. And for Tada, I think it's really worked out. He's gotten what he wanted. He's starting at shooting guard next to Montel Cage, running the point. And Tada averaging 14.6 points per game, second on the squad, only behind their breakout star, Arthur Lattimore, the big man.
Oh, yeah.
But 14.6 points, 3.7 rebounds, 2.5 assists almost per game, shooting 44% and leading the team in 3-pointers. And this explains why you've got schools, Pacific 12, I guess now, schools like UCLA and Cal fighting over him. And since he's gotten some exposure up there in the Pacific Northwest with Cascadia, Gonzaga also in the mix for Mr. Tada's services. So want to shout him out because, first of all, he's having a good year, but I think it's also notable that here's a case of somebody who did make an off-season move, and it feels like it has really worked out for him. I'm not sure that he would be as much of a focus on Showtime with the LeBron little kids and everything else out there to demand the ball and take up attention. And look at what Jason's doing up in Washington State, getting it done up there. Good move for the man from Bakersfield, and that's why he rounds out my third veteran pick.
Yeah, that's a very good pick. I think last season he didn't necessarily get um he was not as good as we expected him to be, but that Los Angeles team I think also they also disappointed. Just like the
Mm-hmm.
Philadelphia team last season. It was just a team that we expected to do a lot more that just didn't. And I think you're right with if he would have stayed with Showtime, I don't he'd probably be like ninth, eighth, ninth on the depth
Yeah.
chart, and just because of the players that they have there and LeBron pulling the strings, I guess a little bit.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, no,
Maybe
he
that's
made
right.
he made a great business decision for himself, and it's working out. Like you said, if it wasn't for Arthur Lattimore, it would be all about Tada with Cascadia. But Arthur Lattimore
Mm-hmm.
did just explode onto the scene. He's one of the top players in all of SimWorld hoops. But yeah, Jason Tada again, great business decision. He's leading the team in 3-pointers made with 21. Composite, he's sitting at 24 right now. You said he's got all the big schools looking at him.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
there's a bit of a comparison with him and Tobias Harris. I'm not sure if that's a good thing or a bad thing as a Sixers fan. Don't, but yeah, no, it's a great pick. He's one of those players who he's really he's shining a lot more than he would have if he would have just stayed. And I expect to see him probably shine. I don't know. I don't think he'll follow Bronny James or Bronny James to USC or anything like that, but I think he'll shine for a year or two at college before making that jump to the NBA for
Yeah.
sure.
Yep. But I think he has a big future. Again, great size for a potential, combo guard at the next level. And I'm excited for Jason's future.
Absolutely. I'm going to go with a more obvious choice for my last pick. And I'm surprised that he was not on yours, but I'm going to go ahead with Aaron Payne of H-Town Hoopers.
Oh, wow.
Hey,
Love him.
yeah, he's just on paper statistically, he's not blowing anybody away if you just look at his averages. 8.7 points per game, 9.6 rebounds. But man, this kid, he is an absolute dominant presence inside. And you can't I think he's one of the best defensive bigs in all of SimWorld hoops. And at 6'11", that's big, but when you think about the scary guys inside, you think of guys like Ilgauskas, who's 7 foot. You think of Hennessy, who's 7'1", I think.
Mhm.
You don't really think of Aaron Payne, but he was a huge reason as to why they're sitting with 9 wins right now, and that Texas was considered the premier state at the beginning of the season compared to California.
Right.
But yeah, he was a huge part. Again, statistically, offensively, I should say, statistically on the offensive side of the ball, you're not thinking of Aaron Payne. I think he can work on that. I think that he already knows how to use his physicality for defense. And maybe he just wears himself out by playing too hard of defense, where maybe offensively he's just not focused that much. But when you have Tyrell Thompson, when you have Martin Janov and Keith and Carter, you don't necessarily need him to be that guy. But if he would be that guy, I think they could be undefeated right now.
Yeah.
But yeah, just over, I think that, again, one of the top, I'd say probably top 3 defensive bigs in SimWorld hoops. I'll say top 5. I had some other names.
That's all right. That's still elite company.
Yeah,
That's okay.
Oh yeah. But yeah, huge. I think that again, if I was putting together another 3 deep, he would absolutely find his way on there. Him and Ramirez for sure would be on that list.
I think we've done a pretty good job of calling out some deserving veterans today, Bob.
Mm-hmm.
And I liked all your picks. I got to say, I liked them all. And no, Aaron Payne. Hey, if we're picking up teams, if we're just throwing together, doing some run out in the gym later today, I'm picking Aaron Payne with one of my first picks. I'll put it that way.
Yeah, he's one of those players who, if you remember during the preseason, Philadelphia was just such a physical team, just punching teams in the mouth with their defense. I think Payne would be perfect on a team like that. He's on a team like that right now. But like, if you don't think of Houston as a physical I don't want you don't think of Houston when you think of like physical places, I guess, but I guess it's because I don't live there. Uh,
Right.
I mean, I just don't shoot me. I'm sorry, don't shoot me.
Yep, that's right.
Don't do it. But no,
Don't take it personal.
yeah, when you think of like a gritty places, you think of the places like Philadelphia and things like that. At least I do. But yeah, that
Yeah.
and I think we've probably our six. We probably put together a solid starting lineup that would.
Some man come off the bench. We can decide who that's going to be, but I think we're in pretty good shape too. I'd agree.
Yeah. Well, is there anything else that you would love to tell the people or talk to the people about?
Well, just we got good SimWorld hoops coming your way back again this week. Not Monday, but Tuesday. Make sure to check out SimWorld TV back on the air starting at 7 o'clock Eastern that night. And then, we also got games on Wednesday and Thursday. I'm going to be calling them Wednesday and Thursday night, Bob. And, in the heart of the SimWorld season now, we got the NBA playoffs going on. It's a pretty good time to be a basketball fan.
Yeah, don't forget that Tuesday 7 o'clock game. Who is it? The return of Adam Max.
Adam Max is back finally after so long. I know.
Hold on. Did I lie? Yeah, no, I'm right. Sorry, that's not the first streamed game though on Tuesday. You know what? These 8 o'clock games that are streamed, man, they kill me. But the second streamed game, which will be the one commentated by you, it'll be the Yacht Club versus the AT Aliens, and yeah, Adam Max is going to be a huge addition back to the team. Hopefully he stayed in shape.
He is the size they need, so we will see.
Absolutely, but we appreciate you guys listening as always. If you want to coach, head over to the Discord. What's that link?
Discord is discord.gg/SimWorldNBA.
Sign up to be a coach, sign up to be a player. We love the interactions from you guys. Please, if there's anything you want to hear us talk about, let us know. But again, we appreciate you guys. Have a good rest of your weekend.